step ahead.
Well,
Okay, well,
nobody's perfect.
now then we don't need that. That's for that person. Good. Well, I guess we should go ahead and call the Gateway Roadway Landscape Advisory Committee meeting. And I guess we have enough here to establish a quorum.
Be a quorum, yes.
Right, do you have to ask everybody if they're here?
We don't have to.
Okay.
I just write down the names.
Okay.
I've written it down, and it was posted, it's posted on the website.
Very good. So website, is there a motion to approve the December 22nd
I motion to approve the meeting minutes.
minutes?
I wasn't here, but I'll second them. They sound pretty good to me.
All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
All
Yeah,
opposed?
I abstain, I wasn't here.
So we have 3 ayes and 1 abstention.
Dolores has to abstain too. She
Well,
wasn't here.
somebody has to second it, so I did.
You can second it, but you
Right.
can't vote.
If, that's 2-0, so.
Yeah, but that's,
It's not a quorum. That's right, both you all weren't here.
yeah.
And then
But
Paul's gone.
it can be approved because it's even, because it's 2-2. So we're abstaining, we're not voting no.
See, we're,
Okay.
this is all we are now, so two can do it.
Well,
According to Robert's rules.
yeah, right. Because you're abstaining, you're not saying no.
Yes, we're not saying no, we're abstaining.
So you and Kevin can vote yes, and it will be approved.
Okay.
Okay.
I agree, you agree, Jerry?
So moved.
Yeah.
There you go.
One of my easiest decisions today.
Sorry.
I don't know, thank you for the input. All right, land architects, Scott, you said they were.
Yeah,
So then we'll hear him next time, huh?
well, yes, Bill called, and unfortunately, he was delayed in a zoning hearing in Collier County. They didn't finish it. It got, they recessed, and it was gonna continue this afternoon. So he didn't think, the best he could be here was by 5, and I didn't think we'd be here that long. So, anyway, let me just tell you where we are with him. Elle and I have met with him and reviewed the proposed service agreement that Tony, our counsel, prepared. And there were 2 articles that Bill had a question on, and they're both somewhat minor, but Tony had them in here. I forwarded the comments on to Tony last week. I haven't heard his answer yet. One was, let me look at, sorry, section 1E. Article 1, item E. And it says, the landscape architect will assign a project manager, I beg your pardon, wrong one. The landscape architect shall optimize the resources available through the district staff before utilizing additional landscape architect personnel. And his comment was, I feel that this section should either be deleted or rewritten, so long as I produce the services outlined in the scope for the fees associated therewith. It is my prerogative to utilize whatever resources I may deem necessary, if I am able to go outside of the scope and the fee. Then I can understand the application of this section, and it should be written that way if so desired on your end. So that's what he wrote to Elle and I. In other words, he can obtain information other than from the staff. This really has to do with the baseline of the roadway network has already been created by our roadway rehabilitation drawings, some done by Holmontez for WCI, Rick Berlansky, and the others done by Kissinger Campo by Paul Wingard and his company. So we were able to already provide him those CAD drawings, electronic versions of the base map. So that meaning going outside beyond staff. So we don't have that, so I sent him to the consultants to get that down, so he doesn't have to regenerate it. So it'll save him time and money in this effort, and result saving us time and money as a district. So I don't think Tony will have any issue with that. The other item was on Article 10. Let's see, and this has to do with, see if I get this right. Contingent fee. The landscape architect warrants that it has not employed or retained any company or person other than a bona fide employee working solely for the landscape architect. It goes on to say, so, but, and his comment is based on the realities of how just about every firm in the industry operates today, this section is unwarranted and should be stricken from the agreement. I am going into this project utilizing the services of a regular production expert that I use regularly, who works on an ongoing contract basis with my firm. He is not an employee, and so what he's saying is he's subbing out some of the drafting, which is very common in the industry.
Right.
Instead of carrying these people on their payroll, he has a 1099 agreement with a guy. And so, again, I don't think this will be an issue. I haven't heard back from Tony, but those were his only two comments on the base agreement that Tony had prepared. So what I would like to do, if I may, is wait for Tony's comments and share those with Bill and get that resolved. And then to help expedite things, we can email the agreement to the committee instead of waiting another month and discussing it. That way, you'll have it in advance. If Tony's good with it, and Ellen and I talked with Bill for a couple hours last week about all this, and I understand it. I don't have an issue with it personally. So I thought that might help expedite the whole process. It's the pleasure of the committee as to which route they want to go. Again, we're trying to, if you recall, get him underway, get work going on and performed, so that we can go through the steps. And if I may, just talk about the highlights that we looked at under this scope of work. He provided a whole bunch of tasks that were pretty in-depth. And after reviewing it, and he was ahead of the game, not ahead of the game, but he continued further than he should have, I'll put it that way. Had more tasks than budget allowed, shall we say, and what was not necessary at this time, because basically we want to go ahead and do a basic conceptual plan. He wants to, like phase 1 as an example, task 1 be site investigation and analysis. Task 2 would be do a conceptual planting plans and things, and then the third task would be a workshop presentation. And amongst those, he would be meeting first with the committee, and then working out his ideas and understanding the needs, wants, and desires of the committee for the community, and then taking it to the next level, doing the conceptual plans, recommendations, and things like that in the dialogue that he has with the committee. And then you all would make a recommendation after it's tweaked, I'm sure, back to the board. And our goal is to get this, and then also in with that, come up with some estimated fees for this implementation of this work, budget-wise, so that we can have a budget going in for 2017. So he has 6 months, about 6 months to get this done. And to hold a information series, an informational workshop. I think that'd be the best idea after going through the committee, and then it can be an open house type of thing, come on in and, discuss it for the residents, that kind of thing. So that's sort of the direction he's going. He's gonna put it in a formal presentation, and it'll be part of the agreement.
So basically, before he puts anything on paper, though, he'll kind of absorb the big board's comments and ideas, and then this board's thoughts and ideas, rather than reduplicating, reinventing the wheel.
No, I think he wants to meet with you first,
Okay.
be step one.
There's another thing too, he should be aware of what the medium in front of Stony Brook is gonna look like, so he'll know.
Exactly, and I'm sharing that with him. Thank you, yes, and that we developed, we finalized the list of bidders on that. It's sort of jumping, but we're gonna get that out to bid, this week. Did you get the little chair? You can have a big chair. Slide over, that's the broken one. I don't know how you got that one. You're down below the table.
She's the new member, and that's,
That's what I want.
That's the chair I usually
Next
get
new
over
member
here.
gets that chair next
right.
Oh, I see, Diane took
Yeah,
the big one.
so I,
So anyway, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so that way, the land, architects would meet with the site, so there will be some uniformity. That's what.
Well, we're gonna share the plans with him and the revisions that were made at the last meeting and get him up to date. I've already given him those plans electronically. And, he'll take all that into consideration along with the base map plans that we had for the roadway. So he can start pulling it all together and doing his inventory and analysis of all the existing. When Al and I met with him, we had a great discussion over the pros and the cons and what to save, what not to save, and talking about how, we'll have to be approved by the county, and he understands all that. And there are certain constraints and opportunities and things, and I think he'll do a fine job. We just need to get him going. So, I guess we'll plan to have him at the next meeting, for sure. But between now and then, I think we can have his agreement hammered out, and we'll send that to you.
Between meetings, so we could hammer out the candidates and this guy too, and hear this guy. What do you think? Too much for you?
Yeah, I'm not really scheduled for another meeting.
Okay.
I'm meeting now, so it's,
I'm retired, so I won't think about that.
it's all right. It's all right. Tuesdays is kind of been scheduled for this meeting, and then I have city meetings with
Yeah,
the
I
days.
understand.
Okay.
Scott, in your meetings, your and Al's meeting with, him, did he, there's a certain budget, you said that his proposal went past that. So, does he give some thought on what he can do within the budget parameters?
Yes, and by that, by going beyond, in his initial scope of services, not only did he start with project coordination and design programming, base data preparation, inventory and analysis, opportunities, constraints, client and board final programming session, presentation programming, then that was all in category one. Category two is design development. Initial design, road concepts, again, going through the presentations, preliminary design, et cetera. He thought he was going through, for whatever reason, he put the whole package in here to do complete design drawings, working drawings, to go above and beyond
Yeah,
conceptual.
I'm not so sure I'm not so sure the RFQ wasn't set up that way. But I'm sure as the board probably can tell me, he only had $60,000 to do that, or whatever the number was.
Yes, it's 25,
25,000.
we have $25,000 to do
Right,
this.
so-
So once he put in all the whole gamut of things, he realized, oh, wait a minute. Well, one, we told him that's not what we want, because you only have $25,000. You're not gonna be able to do it all. That'd be more of $150,000 something thousand dollars to do a full packet and
Right.
working drawings. So again, the first phase of this is to do this conceptual planning, which he's doing, and then put money in the budget next year to take it to the next level of doing actual working drawings.
And he's okay with that, I mean,
He understands that, yes.
And
yes.
he's going to look at what's going on up at the other end,
Oh, absolutely, yeah, yep.
and kind of put some of that into the rest of it.
That's a professional thing, and that's crossing the line for me. I'm not going there. I don't know what he's thinking.
Now, this new landscaping bid that's coming up, no matter who gets it, when this man is doing the planting, they work around him and keep doing their work.
No. Two different things. This gentleman we're talking about, Land Architects, is only doing conceptual planning for all the
That's what I
common
mean.
roadways.
Who's gonna be doing the planting exactly?
Well, that's
It's
a
a
whole
separate
different thing.
thing.
I'm gonna put that out for bid this week.
So that won't necessarily be whoever's doing our landscaping.
No,
I mean, like Mainscape is now.
we're gonna invite Mainscape to bid.
Yeah,
And we have a list of 8 bidders here.
yeah.
We're gonna invite 8 bidders to do this, the insight plan, but with the modifications that you all made.
So they
Those
will
are two
be
separate
aware
things, Dolores.
that-
Those are two distinct things. There's the Stony
Right.
Brook project, which is already designed,
Yeah, I know that.
right? And now he's gonna have somebody build that.
But, yeah, now, when we pick the landscaper, what I'm saying is, do they work with this land architects along with putting all this in on the boulevard when he's doing it? Or do they just leave him alone and they go on and do their other work?
Well, you got a landscape contractor and a landscape designer. The designer already knows what the contractor's gonna build. Plant up in front of Stony Brook.
He,
Talking about the boulevard.
Yeah,
land architects will look at what they did at Stony Brook. Take some of those themes and pull them into the rest of the roadway.
Yeah, I understand that, but what I was thinking, you see, when they come in and they start designing this, is land architects gonna do the planting, or is the landscaper gonna do the planting?
nobody's gonna plant. It hasn't gone that far. All that land architect is doing a concept plan, the pretty picture,
Okay.
the overview, the overall theme and the different areas on Gateway Boulevard and Griffin Drive and Commerce Lakes.
All the areas other than those 3 meetings,
4.
4 meetings, thank you.
That's what I was asking about, yeah.
Yeah, they're two separate things.
The list that we gave you, we're gonna ask them to bid on installing the plants in the 4 medians as approved by the committee and the board up in those 4 medians. Land Architects is gonna come in and design the rest of the boulevard
Conceptual.
conceptual and work with the committee and the board, for your approval on the design that it puts together.
And they're gonna look at what is already up at Stony
They
Brook.
will take that
Yeah,
into
yeah.
Because
consideration.
one of the supervisors came and asked me to make sure that was mentioned, that they bring some of that in, so there'll be some improvement.
He was gonna look at it from,
I think you've already given him
Bow
that
to stern.
information, right?
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
Yes, I
so
have.
he's already given, if I understand this right, Scott has already given them the design that's already been approved at Stony Brook to the new guy. That will do the rest of the community. They're just designers, they don't install anything.
They don't actually install.
They don't
That's what I
install,
was-
they're designing.
So whoever's our landscaper will do the install.
No,
No,
you have to
they're gonna bid that out.
That quadrant, that 3/4, because this is really what they're doing up here is only like about a quarter of the whole project.
Okay.
That's a separate entity. So after, that probably won't be until 18, or the end of 17.
The end of
depending on how much-
17, yeah,
How much
yeah.
money you have.
right.
We'll have to bid that package out for
So
a new
we're a long
contract.
ways from where I'm talking about.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And again, budget-wise, you might only have enough to do key elements of the community, the entry points, the hardscape, Daniels and Gateway Boulevard. Might revise something at Stony Brook in 82, or Gateway Boulevard in 82, or Griffin in 82.
See, the
West
reason I'm
Lake.
asking is I get asked these things and I don't know the answers, so
Okay,
that's why
I
I'm telling
understand that.
the resident.
Yep, yep. anybody else wants to jump in. Okay, we have a board of supervisors, and about a year ago, it was brought up that, or maybe less than a year ago, that we need a landscape architectural committee, and for our common areas, mainly the roadways. And so I think Rod Senior was the one who said, you know, we need this, and asked who in the community was available and interested. And then there were a few people that he talked to, and other people, you know, nominated other folks. And that's how it sort of came about. And the board recognized that as it's not a working group, advisory group, thank you. So therefore, it follows the Sunshine Law, public meetings such as we're having now, versus a working group where they can talk amongst each other, is the basic difference. Again, they are advisory, they make recommendations to the Board of Supervisors. And their charge, I think we have it written up, and I don't have it with me, but it's available. We can.
I sent you some document.
So they meet once a month, and you sort of hear what the discussion is. We had our previous first chair, Paul Wingard, he resigned due to workload elsewhere. And so now they reappointed the first of the year, the new chair and all, and Kathleen was appointed as a new member, and they're looking for another member. Again, the overall intent is to look at the common, mainly the roadway landscaping. Now that the roads are being rehabbed, and try to spruce things up. Bring, you know, Gateway's pretty old and worn, and not a lot of money's been spent because we've been waiting for improvements to come along. And with this board, I feel that they'll be able to help direct things, make recommendations, along with the valuable input of Elle, because she's been here maintaining and overseeing it, along with Mainscape. Freddie here in the back, he's our day-to-day guy, our manager. And they've been very instrumental in input on as far as wet plants for maintenance and you know, watering tolerance and et cetera, et cetera. So it's a, you know, all in the interest of increasing the property value of those in Gateway. But again, all of it is a recommendation to the board, and the board makes the final say. So the board said, okay, well, let's take it a step further. Let's have this committee said, hey, we need $100,000 to do a conceptual. Let's get somebody on board to start designing it. Well, it's now $25,000. So, and then we have X amount for plant replacement and things in our budget. But what needs to happen, I think, and everybody's on board, I think, is to do this first out with a conceptual, and he's gonna come in and create illustrations on what the intersection of Gateway and Griffin will look like. You know, that's a main thing there. And then also the key entry points to the community. So needs to be brought to the forefront and addressed. So that's sort of where these folks are coming from.
And you'll love the pay.
You're familiar with that, yeah. Did I miss anything?
No, I think you summed it up pretty well.
Okay.
We're a voluntary advisory board with horticultural experience, and just trying to help our community maintain or increase the property values. And it's about time, you know, a lot of people take plants for granted, and they're really like furniture. Sooner or later, certain plants do wear out after just continual trimming, and just how certain plants age. So that's kind of where we are right now. And the irrigation system, when you consider all the things that go on underground with the irrigation system, just the friction in the pipes, or people running overheads and things. I'm sure Ellie has some stories she can tell us.
We won't finish.
So, and the new technology. just upgraded, or we helped suggest to the big board to upgrade the irrigation on the soccer fields with a more GPS type of system where somebody doesn't have to go out there manually and check the clocks and make that kind of decision with rain sensors. And, you know, you can basically have a computer system in your office now and punch how you want to program. A lot of golf courses are doing it. So that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, one question on that is, what's the relationship of the roadways? Who's gonna be responsible for the roadways? Who's gonna be responsible for the medians?
Roadways in what way?
So there's a turnover process. Not familiar with the turnover process.
If you'd like, the district and Lee County, a year and a half ago, came to an agreement on what they call a maintenance agreement for the road turnover. And there's a long list of things. And once between WCI and the district finish rehabilitating the roads, they're milling and repaving, all the new striping, new signage, route cutting, back to sidewalk and things. Once all that's done and then inspected and accepted by the county will then take over the roadways themselves. They're gonna take over the sidewalk, okay? The district still has responsibility for the streetlights and for the foliage and the irrigation. Now, if the district's landscaping causes the roots to buckle a sidewalk, that would be our responsibility, ours being the district, to repair. But the roadway will be up to the county. The striping, up to the county. There's some drainage, cross drainage that they're responsible for, the inlets and things, and the outfalls are the districts, or their water network, their surface water management. The signs are gonna be replaced in similar to what we have, the same style. They're gonna be colored different so they don't get all that mold from that cream color. They're gonna be the hunter green, as our logo is up there. Pelican Preserve has all black posts and things, but we're gonna have the same framework, the finials and the fluted posts and all that. And I hope to, I suspect within the next 2 to 3 weeks, they'll start installing those for our section. Our section being the district has 1/3 of the road network and WCI has 2/3. But the same company for the signage is doing both projects. So we have uniformity and things, so. If you noticed, they started paving this past week over off of, in front of the schools, West Links and the Commerce area over there, the commercial area, I mean. They've already done some of the minor roads. They've done Girl Scout, Devonshire, and the little side roads, and the Eagle Point. Eagle Point, there we go. So those are paved. WCI will be doing the majority of Gateway Boulevard and the remainder of Griffin Drive. Hopefully within the next 30 days, you'll see a big improvement on that. What I alluded to earlier about the landscaping and things up front in front of Stony Brook, we have to get the light poles changed out and the planters up there. So I'm bringing that to the board for next week. I think we've got a real good solution on that. There'd be breakaway poles. Once the poles are done, then we can go in and do the irrigation, do the landscaping, then they come back and re-mill the road, and hopefully the end of March is the game plan.
Those committees function as the medians and the shoulders. Or different medians.
I beg your pardon?
This committee is advisory, they're gonna advise on the medians and the shoulders?
Yes. The right of way.
The right of way.
The right of way, all the landscaping in the right of way, and irrigation.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so I guess that brings us to D, on old business review nomination of candidates for the vacancies. Right now, there's two resumes in.
time of the year that kind of thing happens.
That's why I think if we table it to next month, they both, you know, better chance of both of them being here. That's,
How do you feel about it, Kevin?
I guess we only have 3 at this point, and the question is Mr. Frost still considering providing a bio or resume to the committee?
Probably not this time, I think I'll come to review.
Okay,
So now we just.
so now we're just down to 2. The question is, out of these 2, which one would be more
That's the
qualified
way
from
I
our
feel,
perspective?
Yeah.
I mean, people do get sick, so they've taken the time to put their information together.
I don't know the lady from Lincoln, she sure sounds experienced, and I do know the lady, Betty Pinkbeiner. She's a resident in my neighborhood.
And did she provide any landscaping
No.
type?
No, her background, her career was pretty much into the dental hygiene industry, profession, at a university level as well as a practicing level.
She's a good leader if we ever needed a new boss.
Kendra, lives in the Cypress Point community.
Right.
And she's also the president of their HOA. That is, now I don't know about any landscaping experience per se, as far as professionally, but she is in charge of that community's landscaping.
She says she helped landscape their neighborhood.
Right. Yeah, I caught that. I just completed a $30,000 redesign landscape project in our community. Process of meeting with landscapers, reviewing designs, plans, so, you know, even though she may not have a horticultural background, excuse me, you know, with her current experience in dealing with what we're getting ready to experience, I think she has a background that will benefit us.
Yeah, I would agree.
So is there a motion for either of these individuals to fill our vacancy that we can present to the big board?
Can I
Yes.
say something else?
Sure.
I had approached about the alternate once before, and maybe because we're already filling again,
Right.
maybe that we could have an alternate that could be available too.
That's a good idea. We could have one lady serve on the committee and the other one as an alternate, in case one of us decides to quit.
Is there an alternate position?
No, we'd have to make, no.
We'd have to make it.
So we'd have to get the approval of the big board.
Yeah, that's not in the community policy. They probably have to amend it and it would require a resolution, but it has to be approved by the board. Pretty sure.
I
Okay,
know
so that brings up another question. Do
the
we-
other lady is extremely busy all the time. Betty Pinkbeiner is busy. She'd make a good committee member, but she is busy.
And then how about the schedule of the link lady?
Oh, I don't know that woman's working. Did she say she's still
Yes.
working?
Yes, she works with the plan.
I wonder if that would be a conflict.
She does a lot of work from home, a lot of computer-based stuff.
Guess what, it would've been nice if they were here, we could ask these
I'm sorry,
questions.
I'm not, I'm just, you know, you're asking questions that I just happened that, you know, I've never spoke with her.
Well, I don't
Not
want to
regarding
make the,
this.
I don't want to make the, first
Nomination?
nomination because I asked Ms. Pinkbeiner to run, but I really like this lady.
I'm not, can I ask Diane a question? I know that the supervisors came to this committee to ask about an alternate. A couple of things, and Paul was here, and Paul had met with the committee, and we decided not to go with the alternate. So, I wondered if we just.
Well, did we wanna request that be brought up at the next meeting of the big
Yeah.
board?
Yeah.
And then table this situation, or do we wanna go forward with one of these to be permanent as can be,
Ms. Sutton. Sutton, yeah.
Yeah, Kendra Sutton.
Kendra Sutton as our fifth, committee member.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor of, electing, Kendra Sutton for the
I think
vacant?
that's a good idea.
Is all in favor?
Say aye.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so move. Very good, so we'll have Kendra on there, and then, maybe we can discuss that at the next meeting a little bit more in regards to, what our bylaws say, and whether we wanna bring it up to the big board.
Okay, I was gonna say, could I motion that we bring the alternate position to the board?
Do you need a motion for that?
A request for an
Yeah, to
alternate
see-
position?
Yeah, to see if it's a possibility.
Okay. Can you write up a little, why this board feel, well, I guess, do we have to vote on that? To go to the big guys?
You don't have to, I mean,
Just put it on the agenda?
yeah, whenever the meeting you decide to do it, like this, it's not, this coming meeting, February 4th, it is the 18th. If that meeting is when the landscape advisory reports are presented, somebody could just do a request to address and bring it up at that time. The board can choose not to discuss it and move on, you know, you can mention it, doesn't mean that it will be addressed.
Right. Would you like to do that for this board?
Okay, so I'll address it on the 18th, okay?
I
Okay.
appreciate that.
So then, they would have to, if they say yes, they would have to vote, and we could have alternate for, okay. All right.
You know, reasons why you feel that, we should have an
This was
alternate.
the second time within
Right.
a 6-month period that we had to elect it, so an alternate would be available.
Be a good idea.
So we can maintain a quorum.
And then later,
Right.
which,
Okay. Very good. All right, I guess we ran Scott off. Follow up with names of contractors regarding the irrigation system. I'm guessing that Scott was kinda looking for some names and thoughts in regards to the same way he.
Wasn't that what Paul Bodie did?
Well, I think his company does both. You know, the January 26th email that he went out with the bidders list, that was for strictly landscaping.
Well, let's suggest him anyway for the irrigation, because I understand he's quite good.
Okay. All right, I know I've had, dealings with, a company called Green Heron.
What is it?
Green Heron Irrigation. They've been good. I believe Mainscapes does a little bit of irrigation, that they would probably wanna bid on the system.
Do you know of anyone, Kevin, that's really good at irrigation? You have your own man, don't you?
Yeah, I probably need to abstain from that.
That's a pain. It's gonna be a big job.
I was under the impression that you already got names for irrigation contractors, no? We're on item C. Or are you asking for names, Scott?
For irrigation contractors?
Yes.
Yes. Follow up with names of contractors.
Contractors, landscape contractors.
Right.
I got
It
a
says
few.
irrigation system.
Irrigation contractors.
You got C and we got D, which, we're on C
Right.
on the agenda.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what the thought is, irrigation, about revamping our controllers and things,
Right.
our overall system. Let's see, how many months ago did we talk about the soccer field?
Yeah, about 6 months.
Yeah, and we made that recommendation, pass that on to go to that new company, that new,
Bird.
Baseline, thank you, Baseline. And to do a prototype, if you will, a pilot out here on the soccer field. And, the board, wanted to hold on that. We had it set up to relocate the controller, put in the new controller, over where the electrical panels are by the pavilion. And then we'd run it has to be connected to the internet. And then we're gonna run fiber optic into there. And at that time, they said, no, we wanna go wireless. We don't want fiber optic. Okay, can it be done that way? And the research after the fact, yes, it can. And they put a hold on it all. And what we did do instead of hand watering, we went ahead and put in a temporary controller in there. Relocated it, but we put a temporary one in there for less money than it would take to hand water for another month till they could come back to the board. So at that point in time, we said, okay, well, now we have the temporary controller in there for the soccer field. So it's functioning. Okay, then what we want to do is look at our overall irrigation master control system, which we have, I don't know, Freddie, we have how many controllers and satellites, and I don't know off the top of my head.
I think we have 12 satellites.
12 satellites off our main. And if you remember, yes, yeah.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Freddie? What?
Not including the soccer.
Oh, not
Plus the
including.
soccer.
Okay.
And we had, we brought another irrigation main from the plant, our reuse plant back here, 16-inch, 20-inch and then 16-inch, and tied it into Gateway Boulevard to increase the volume of water on Gateway Boulevard at this point, the intersection of Griffith, to provide for the area of Pelican Reserve that will be serving as well with irrigation water. So the volume increased. Going back to irrigation control, they said, okay, well then we're gonna look at our big picture instead of doing the pilot job. So we sort of, the board said, let's draw back a little bit and let's look at our global picture for our irrigation control instead of just a soccer field. So we're still looking at baseline, I don't wanna say Main Street, baseline. And the gentleman that we considered that you all recommended, with David Jones for the landscape design architect.
Greg Desario?
Sarah, right.
Getting to know him a little bit was very worthwhile because he is one of the leaders in irrigation design. I don't know if he's done that with you in the past or not, but he and I were talking about the overall system. And that's one of the things that he sort of specializes in. So I was gonna reach out and get him on board to look at our irrigation. So it's design, not contracting yet.
Okay.
So that's where we are.
So we really don't need to
Yeah,
be
we don't have-
concerned with irrigation contractors.
No.
That's good.
No, and then in the bid, on the next item, sorry to jump for the landscaping bid.
Before you do that, what's the difference between Baseline and Desario?
I
Aren't
can't
they
tell
bo-
you.
No, are they both irrigation design people, or?
Oh, Greg Desario
Yeah.
at Baseline?
Yeah.
Baseline is the controller equipment,
Oh, just control?
is the hardware,
Okay,
It's a brand.
and Greg is the designer.
I got you, okay.
That way, what I wanna do is we have the as-built now from Mainscape of our irrigation, all sectioned out. In addition to that, we have our GPS, we took that information and folded it into our GPS. So now we have a composite picture of our whole system and conflicts with the other utilities, and that Greg can look at it at 40,000 feet, look at the big picture. And there's also something new telemetry, communications that you typically use through sewer systems on your pump stations. We're revamping that on our utility end, but the hardware that we're getting for that, what's the word?
Telemetry?
Telemetry that we're getting for that can also accommodate additional information, which might be perfect for this irrigation and the satellites. So we're gonna already have one set of software here and hardware that's out there, and it can be adapted to do irrigation as well.
Great.
So we'll be getting that in the next 60, well, probably 30 days here at the, our new telemetry set up, which will go into our jockey pump and things for our irrigation water. And then for the controls of that, but then expand it throughout our whole system for our irrigation. And I, you know, that's, we need to bring in those experts, the Gregs of the world.
Right.
And Hector with BCI who's doing that work for us. So that's looking at it in the big, big picture.
All right.
Irrigation.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that takes care of C. The follow-up regarding landscaping bid.
Does that mean Mainscape's like the contract's almost up, or, and you're wanting to get new bids for the new landscaping?
I don't know who addressed the, I mean, the landscaping bid, the only thing that no, it doesn't, to answer your question. The only thing that we're going out to bid is the 4 planters where the palm trees were.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I thought that was your, latest email? Is that what that's all about?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
So then it really answers, the D
correct,
issues.
yes.
Okay,
Just
go ahead.
a question. O'Donnell Landscaping that you have on the list, is that the one who took out the palms?
Yes.
Thank you. Wanted to
Yeah,
make sure.
and estate landscaping is this guy right over here. Oh, okay.
I'm just, I wanna be able to put some.
So that's
Sure.
all right, is it, that he can bid on these?
He has to recuse himself.
Yes, which I
For the,
do.
but he can still be on the committee.
Yes.
Yeah, I just can't vote on it.
He can't vote on
I'm not
it.
gonna vote on
But
it.
you can't vote on what,
Right.
okay.
And when we talk bad about him, we'll have to send him to the other
Okay,
room.
have to send it
Put
in
me
the
in my
other room.
corner.
Yeah, I just put that on there because at the last meeting, we had requested input from the committee.
Yeah.
And I got a few names, so we added some more names to that.
So you're setting up this, to all these people on the names now? For the bid?
I have 8 firms to send out to.
Yeah, right, you're setting that up.
Yeah,
And
I'm
you've
gonna-
already sent the forms to them?
No, we just finished the names today, wanna make sure
Okay.
everybody's okay, and we're gonna send that out.
So we really don't have to do anything.
Correct.
It's more of an update, yeah.
This is getting easier all the time.
There you go. Okay, new business, other issues. Kathleen, go
I
ahead.
just wanted, put, from the landscaping advisory committee, I wanna thank Scott for all his time he's put in with us.
I
We
don't know if
appreciate it.
everybody knows, it was announced last week, I'll be departing February 12th, my last day, so.
Can't take it, huh? Getting hard.
So, it's hard to leave the folks, it's hard to leave those I work with.
So I was, thank you.
But, you know, I'm not leaving the area, so I'm gonna go back into my private consulting. Project management, so.
Hate to see you go, Scott.
Yeah, we
Thank
do.
you. Thank you, guys.
We really appreciate your insight and all the effort that you put into it.
I don't have any other issues. The only thing that I know is ask about the alternative.
Well, I wanted to ask one question, yeah, and thank you, I was just gonna say, with good staff, this is easy now. Now part of our good staff's leaving, so, are they gonna be replacing you, do you know, or no? Obviously, they can't replace you, but are they gonna?
At the, they had a workshop last Thursday, they being the board, and, in that workshop, they talked about reorganization. I had given my notice prior to that, it was sent to the supervisors, that Tuesday night, and, they presented, to take my position, and create 3 positions over 3 different departments, and then bring in, if you will, a general manager have the board, you'd have a general manager, or whatever you wanna call them, ops manager, then, three, department heads, which would act as, assistants to the general manager. And then you have all the remaining staff, there's nobody being, changed there.
Where are they gonna find money for all this?
Yeah.
Well, thank you, residents, I
I
don't know.
hope it's not in my taxes.
I can't answer that.
You've seen a lot of change, Diane.
Yeah, he's been
That's
our
why she doesn't take the
fourth
job.
boss in less than 5 years.
He's number 7 for me. Number 8's coming in.
So.
And you've been here how long?
9 years.
Diane's been here a long time too.
Just almost 5.
From my understanding, Severn Trent's obligated to bring in somebody on a temporary basis, or interim basis, helping.
They ought to make Terry the manager, he's been here 30 years.
26.
I do have some other landscaping business.
So anyway, that's sort of the game plan.
Okay, so it's under, they're trying to figure it out.
Yep.
Okay. When's their next workshop, or where are they?
We have a board meeting, our next board meeting is next Thursday, the 4th.
Have you ever been to one of the board meetings, Kevin?
No,
Quite interesting.
I can imagine.
What time is that?
3 o'clock.
3 p.m., yep.
So are they voting on that, or they're just discussing it more?
I don't know that that specific is on the agenda as a topic.
Who knows whether they'll settle it that day or not, or next week or the next.
Okay.
We've been given the direction to go ahead and hire a replacement for, Yvonne as a utility manager. And then that's all I know to date.
Okay. Ellie had something quick?
Yeah, we have, a nematode problem on soccer fields. So I have a proposal from Mainscape. I would like to, I'm gonna send it to Diane and ask you all to review it if you would. Fields 2, 4, and 5 have a very high density of nematodes, which is preventing us from growing a good crop of grass out there. Mainscape has provided us a proposal to do 2 treatments.
What are they using?
Curfew? Not gonna be curfew?
Because we have been scheduled to do curfew treatment, in the summertime. But we have an issue with the subcontractors because when we went to them requesting all the requirements and every insurance certifications, no one of them people all the requirements. So we will be able to do the curfew application in the summertime. So now we found another product that is Lambda that need to be applied on the winter time, on the cold temperature time, on the 70 degrees. So we have a very short period of time to apply. That's why one now in February and the other one at the end of the year,
So it's twice a year.
twice a year.
Is it, but the granular, it has to be done during the cold season?
Cool guy.
Both of them in the cold, so how do you,
That's why you would do one now in February, do it before March, and then another one in November or December.
What's the product?
Sorry?
What is the product name?
I'm sorry, but I don't have the name right now, because what recommendation for agricultural department. Just to let you know, we started, like 5 years ago, we recognized the issue of the field.
Okay.
We did the first treatment, 4 years ago. And it need to be treatment for 3 consecutive years. Then
talked to JSM Services?
Yes.
And how about Campbell Services?
We contact all these subcontractors that do quality application in the area. All one of them fill out all the requirements.
Well, is there a common one that they're, requirement that they're missing? Is there a common requirement that those subcontractors are missing?
There are different, depend on each one is missing something. I was not the one that was dealing with that.
Okay.
The other cultural department. So we tried very hard and nobody can fit.
Okay.
This is the history just to know, you know what, how we are handling it.
Could you get the name of the product to Al, and Al can have it sent to us so we'll know what it is?
I will
Thank
provide
you.
all the information.
Does that sound better?
Yeah, that sounds great. Our chairman now.
Yeah, I know. Put you as the vice chair.
I'm the vice chair. Anything else, Al?
No, sir, thank you very much.
Just so
Okay.
you know, in the, previous years, it was in the budget for, I think it was one treatment a year. Al, was that right? I think it was one treatment a year at, maybe $5,000 a treatment. And in this current budget, I think it's rolled in there. But now we're talking, if you're talking about treatment now, oh, then it'll be, the following year will be another budget, yeah, yeah. So I think it's in there budget-wise, the best of my knowledge,
Okay.
or close to it. The new number is $5,775,
55 cents.
55.75, okay, so it's $5 more, I think.
All right, any other new business, or old new business, I'm sorry. I guess with none saying,
And
Jerry
I-
gone, we'll,
I put the next meeting date, February 23rd.
November 24th, okay, great. Okay. Motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Second?
second. We're adjourned, thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Y'all got quite a bit of work done at the last meeting.
We did,
Yeah, according to the minutes.
we were knocking it out.